Hey, what's up, guys? I want to make a quick video. This should be a quick one on the most important number in private equity. And let's get right to it. The most important number is zero. And it's significant because it's what determines how you're going to be able to run the business, is what's going to be your strategy. In the last video, in the STD video, when we walked through how you're going to create a strategy, this is one of those things that's going to come into play. Now, when I say zero, what I mean is the last number in the end of the deal. So if you're talking about $50,000 deals versus $500,000 deals versus $5 million deals, that zero at the end of each of those changes everything. It changes the whole strategy. It was something that I had to learn. One of the things that I love about internet deals is that you can buy a $50,000 business that is a business and is profitable. It really doesn't exist offline. And I love that people can get started in something so small. One of my clients, Jen, who did a deal that was in that $50,000 range, we were talking about the fact that what that did for her, even though her real target is going to be a $500,000 business, what it did for her is that it got her a incredible education. It's crazy what she learned. And when I think about the fact that now for the college I went to, kids are paying $50,000 for a year. And I think about what they learn there, and it's just like the ROI on that is negative. When you combine the lost year of time in addition to paying 50 grand for that, I love Socrates, but I can read those books on my own. As far as getting a monetary return, it is ridiculous. When you compare that to being able to buy a $50,000 business that's profitable, even if you don't make money, it's still an incredible education over $50,000 for a year of college. So there is huge value in that. Now, when you're thinking about how that fits into a private equity fund strategy, it is as great as the ROI can be, as simple as those businesses can be to run. If you've got a $10 million fund, like our most recent fund, you just can't buy enough of those to make it worth it. And so it becomes a really tough thing to figure out, all right, what's the right size deal where I'm going to get enough deals and be able to get an ROI. I'm not dilapidating the resources by trying to spread it too thin beyond what we're capable of running by trying to have, 50 different $50,000 businesses. It just is crazy. So when you add a zero, though, the dynamics of that business totally change. And it's really interesting, especially when you get into the $500,000 business versus the $5 million business. When you're buying a $500,000 business, in a lot of cases, that entrepreneur is still tied into the deal. And so it's crucial that you know who your jockey is going to be, who's going to run this business, who's going to take it over the line, because they're going to be a big determining factor in whether this business is going to be successful or not. And again, you're in a situation, if you've got a larger fund, where even if you're buying $500,000 businesses, that takes 20 million. And it's interesting because you're not going to pay cash for the businesses. So even if you're paying cash for $500,000 business, that's 20 business. If you're at least getting some leverage, let's say 50% leverage, now you're talking about 40 businesses in a pretty small fund. So you've got to be able to match the deal that you're doing up with the size of the fund. But then you've also got to determine what is the management structure. So in the other video where I answered a subscriber's question, I talk about and that's why I kind of wanted to do this video, because it relates to both of those last two videos, as far as trying to determine what team you need and how the strategy that you're using needs to go after certain size deals. Depending on the size deal that you're going to do, it may change some of those team members, because if you're doing especially the smaller deals that don't have necessarily CEOs that are coming along with the business that are going to drive it, you need meet some of those people that are going to be the jockeys for those businesses. It's one of the reasons that, and again, in the structure that we do when we're partnering with new funds, is we want to be able to provide those people that are going to be some of those jockeys. Now, when you move to the $5 million, add one more zero there, and things change again. In a lot of cases, you can end up with a business that does have systems that's a lot more established, and there's some pros and cons there. The biggest con is that the multiples are going to be typically a lot higher, and this changes what return you want to be able to promise your investors. So upside there, if you've got a $10 million fund, you can have, if you've got 50% leverage, you've got 4 deals that you can run, but it does become a little bit of a risk factor, because if something happens and one of those 4 completely dies, you've lost 25% of the fund's value in a single deal. So you've got to consider those 2 big cons. The pro is, hey, I can go out and get 4 deals. I can take a $10 million fund. Now I've got 20 million in assets. But if one of those deals fails, then that can have a huge impact on the fund and the returns. And secondly, I'm already going to get a lower return because those deals typically have a higher multiple that they're going to sell at. So super quick video, kind of an additional thing to think about when you're thinking about both of those last 2 videos, as far as building your team and as far as your strategy. And one of the most important things to consider with those is, what are the deals, what size deals are we going to target? Because it's going to change both your strategy and your team structure. Thanks for checking out the video. Feel free to subscribe. Be sure to comment. This weekend I plan on knocking out some subscriber questions and comments. So if you've got a question, now is a good time to get that plugged in. If you had a question before and somehow I missed it just because it's been a super crazy month, then feel free to go ahead and do that now, because I plan on cranking out some of these answers to y'all's questions. Thanks so much.